Hello everybody and welcome back to our Zero Hero guide where we're playing as Zote and we're doing things and leveling. Right now I'm sitting around a bunch of walrus guys known as the Tuskar. You know, they got a nice little fire. But today, I think we might undertake something a little more turbulent, I guess you could say, compared to what we've been doing. So we've done some questing, we've gotten up to level 26. Doing a couple zones in Wrath of the Lich King. I've gone over some tutorials about how to level, how to look into stuff, how to use your abilities to deal damage. And, you know, I've talked a couple of times about, hey, this is a multiplayer game, and I've looked into it. There is currently a little event going on right now, and you can look at events up in the calendar. There's one called the Turbulent Timeways, which started last week. The Turbulent Timeways is a time-walking dungeon event where you can do it and get a stacking experience gained buff. And I think we might venture our way into a couple of dungeons today, just to see how it's going. Now, as some of you may know, queuing dungeons as a DPS can take a second. So what can we do to remedy that? Well, we can queue as a healer or a tank. Those usually get quick queue times, so we won't be sitting around forever. But we don't know how to play a healer or tank. We don't know how to play a healer or tank. Well, the best time to learn is now. So I think I'm going to go in as a little healer. I'm going to show you guys how to not panic as a healer in a dungeon. And yeah, this might seem like a big step up from what we did last time, but I can assure you, you're fully capable. Now, there are some preliminary things we should do before going into a dungeon. One, we should make sure, if we're a healer, that we know where our party frames are. So, I'm going to be healing people. I should best know where their health bars are. If we go to edit mode, I can see that they are over here, and they are using Blizzard's default ones. This is... Some people play like this. That's fine. I think using the raid-style party frames is going to net you a little bit better, as well as you're probably going to want to make them a little bigger. Now, what I'm going to do actually, though, instead of editing that, we're going to flip over to my UI. So my UI looks like this. You might be like, whoa, everything just exploded. It did. Everything did change, but for the general use and play of the game, everything's about the same. So let me exit out of here. So my quests, instead of being over the right, they're over here on the left now. My little bags and my my utility bar of all my things is moved from the bottom right up to the top left. Map's still the same. Bars are still the same, just a little lower and smaller. That's because eventually I'll be getting a weak aura package here. Not going to worry about that right now, though, because you don't need it for time-walking dungeons. Leveling dungeons, they're very easy, okay? The biggest obstacle in those is going to be getting lost, because you don't know where to go. Not necessarily how much healing you can do, or how much damage you can do, or how tanky you are, or whatever. It's going to come down to just getting lost. And if you stick with the pack, and I'll show you how to, you'll be just fine. And you can get over your fears of queuing into dungeons. Well, I guess if you watch me do it first. So, my party frames are here. My target and me are here, and my party frames will be right there on the left. I am going to do one thing. Up in the options, you can go into interface. There's a bunch of options in here. Feel free to look around them and do them as you please, but here's one main one. So right now, everybody's health bar is going to be green. If I display class colors, that is now going to show like what am I going to say? It shows their class color. So I'm a druid, class color is orange. Going to show up as orange. And then you can have health text on there. I don't really care too much about that. Mostly I just like class colors. So just have that. Shows also buffs and debuffs on them. So we've got our Mark of the Wild we're going to make sure people have, as well as I'm going to go over what I've done for talents here. So we are now in the restoration tree. Restoration netted us a few extra abilities. I believe I've got them all on my bars. I do. Let's take a look at our Master of Harmony, or Master Harmony. Master of Harmony is a monk thing. Now, mastery, why can't I think that? Harmony is our mastery. So your healing is increased by 4% for each of your restoration heal over time effects on the target. So if you do know, I think I've mentioned before, a heal over time. Druid is all about putting a lot of those on different targets. So I'll go over down here what we have. I know it's small on the bottom, but you get the point of it. They're all leaves. Every Druid heals a leaf. But we've got Regrowth, which is, we had that before as a feral. It's a little heal, and then it applies a heal over time. We have Life Bloom. It's a very strong heal over time, but you can only have it on one target at a time. So there you go. That's your big one. Keep that on the tank, or yourself, or whoever's taking damage and needs healed. Put it on that. And then we've got Wild Growth. This applies a heal over time to 5 of your allies. So there you go, another heal over time. And then you have Rejuvenation, which is just kind of a weak heal over time you can put on any target. We have Swift Mend, which is going to consume one of our heal over times to put a big heal on that target. And then you've got Cenarian Ward, which is kind of like a little shield. It'll heal them when they take damage. So in general, it's kind of like a heal over time. So we just have a bunch of heal over times. Another thing, so right now if I wanted to heal a target, I'd have to target it and then I could cast my Regrowth, and we'll go over here and we'll cast Regrowth on that guy. I can't actually heal these NPCs because, well, the game won't allow me. So I'm actually healing myself, but you'd be like that, you can heal that, I can heal these guys. So you can target him, heal them, go over here, Life Bloom, all that stuff. One thing that's very nice for healers to do is to make it to where instead of having to target this guy, I can just mouse over and heal him. Which, am I putting that on my... I'm putting that on myself. So I'm not actually putting a heal on that guy at all. It's going on myself, even though I'm hovering over him. But to do that, there's a couple of ways. So you can make a macro for all of your abilities that is going to be a mouse over macro. This is the general, this is how you would make one. It would look like this. And wherever you see spell or soek, because I'm a bad typer, you would put the name of the spell you want to make a mouse over. We'll get into in-depth a little bit more on macros later, but a very quick one, if you're just flipping onto a healer to do a dungeon, and you don't feel like making all those macros right now, is you can actually go into your controls, and it's not in controls. Where is it? It's in combat? Go to combat. There you go. Go to combat, and you can enable mouse over cast. And what you can also do is you can make it to where if you hold, let's say, Alt, Control, or Shift, it'll be, so the game will just work normally, right? I'm targeting myself, right? Or even if I hover over this guy and I cast Regrowth, it's going to go on myself. But if I hold Alt and cast Regrowth, it'll go on that target. It wasn't there because I actually have Alt 1 as another keybind. But that's generally how it would work. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the mouse over cast and hit none. So it's just going to make my all my spells mouse over cast. Which means if I want to heal this guy, I just hover over him and I heal him. When I put a rejuve on him, I do that. What this also means is for enemies, like this wolf, I don't even have to be targeting him. I can just click one of my damage abilities and it's going to cast it at him. So you can just hover over. And some people play the whole game like this. I'm personally not a fan for damage. But for just healing and some caster spells, I think it's great. So we've got that underway. You can see even as a healer, we can kill stuff. We can kill stuff just fine. Now we only have one other problem. A lot of my gear has agility on it. So that one gives me intellect, that's fine. All my rings are giving me agility. My trinket's giving me haste. My weapon's giving me agility. So we've got some weird stuff on. So I am actually, just for the purposes of going a little quicker, because Let's be honest. If you're a new player, you're probably not going to be switching between specs and stuff. You're going to stick with one. So let's go into the guise of if you were playing a healer from the start. And this, yeah, like this is a thing you can get really easily. Is these heirloom items? They just cost a little bit of gold, not even that much. So what I'm actually gonna do is just grab one of these. I'm gonna get Hellscream's War Staff. You can see that's gonna give me a lot more stats than my current one will be. So we'll put that on. And then I just want to fill out some of these slots that don't have any intellect on them, because remember, all of my leather armor, that's gonna have intellect and agility. So that's all gonna convert. Just our rings, trinkets, and like our weapon won't. So we got a weapon. Let's take a look at these rings. They both give agility. So I have one ring, which if you look at this ring, the Band of Radiant Echoes, you'll notice it doesn't have agility or stamina, or it has stamina. No, it doesn't have agility or intellect on it, because in the new age of WoW, the more modern items from the last 2 expansions don't have any main stat on rings, and instead they give increased secondary stats. So we'll actually go ahead and grab that, and we'll put that over just whatever our lower item level ring is here, so that we can just keep those on. And these are going to level with us. And then as far as trinkets go, the trinkets here are actually probably fine. This one's going to be about the same, so we're actually going to get rid of this Talisman of the Tundra and grab the Swift-Handed Justice. And overall, we gained a little bit of strength here, but we're not like insanely stronger than we would have been had we not done, you know, any of that heirloom gear stuff. I just, you know, I just want to be up to snuff. I don't want to be too weak going into this, and I don't think I'm going to be, because these time walking dungeons actually scale you pretty properly for your level. So if you're able to like kill quest mobs and stuff at your level going into this dungeon, you'll probably do just fine. So what we're gonna do now is just go ahead and queue up. So if we go to the group finder button, we've talked about this before. Remember, you can go to the group finder, or it's I on your keyboard. You get in here and go to the dungeon finder, and we can see that we've got all these different things, but we're going to be doing one of these random time walking dungeons. And the current subsect we're doing is Warlords of Draenor, which is the expansion we'll probably be going to next to leveling. But I really want this experience buff, so we're gonna queue up as a healer. I know these dungeons, so I'm gonna go ahead and click that, and we're gonna hit Find Group. And then it's gonna throw us into a queue, and hopefully we'll get one pretty quick. It says an average wait time of 87 seconds. So while we're waiting, we can just go ahead and quest. I don't have any of my skywriting buttons down here in my bar. If you need to find your skywriting buttons, they can be found in your spellbook. Go to General. Skywriting, here they all are. So let's get all these buttons in here. There, I never use the bronze time lock or the aerial halt, but we'll put them down there as well. So there we go. Now we can fly around properly. And getting this experience bonus from this Turbulent Time Waves buff is gonna... Oh, there we go. Let's go ahead and turn on this quest. Oh no, we're gonna wait till after, because we're gonna have an experience bonus. Okay, here we go. Our first adventure into a dungeon. It's gonna be crazy. No, I think it will be just fine. And at the end of the day, look, you're never gonna learn to do stuff if you don't get out there and try it, right? So, even if we do fail horribly, which you won't, I believe in all of you, you'll come out of it at least learning something. Look at this. Complete 5 time walking dungeons. We'll accept that quest. And now here's what I was saying about keeping up with people. See, our tank is taking off. So you can see I'm not healing anybody right now. And nobody's even losing health. because people are usually generally pretty strong and don't need it. So if you queue as a healer, look, I can just follow these guys. And the amount of experience I'm going to get from this is insane compared to just like doing a couple quests. But let's get some healing underway. So we're going to go ahead and get our Cenarian Ward on our tank. We're going to hit a Wild Growth to get a hot on everybody. We're going to get Life Bloom on that guy, and we're going to start getting some regrowths out. And you see just a few healing spells there, and all these enemies are getting destroyed. Remember, just follow the group. Use your movement speed abilities, get on your mount, do whatever. Because they're going to be going quick. And see how I haven't said anything about this dungeon. Because you don't need to know the dungeons too much. What you need to know is how to follow. We get some AoEs out here, so I'm going to go ahead and send my Wild Growth. Oh, this isn't good. Use my cat form to break out of that. Get a Wild Growth out now. Let me get some regrowths out. One thing I guess I hadn't noted or mentioned about Druid is you can, anytime you're rooted, you can just switch forms and it'll break all roots on you. We're going to keep our Cenarian Ward on our tank. And since nobody's really taking damage here, we're going to just get some Moonfires and Sunfires out, some dots on enemies. Because even though you're a healer, you can help with damage too. Tank is taking a little bit of damage. We're going to get a regrowth and a life bloom on him. And re-up his Cenarian War. He's taking a little more damage, so we'll get another regrowth on him. Or her, I believe, actually. I believe it is a woman. Then we've got this boss coming in. And dungeons are usually broken down into you'll do some trash mobs like we were doing before. And then you'll go ahead and fight a boss. Anytime you see something around your screen like this, that usually means you're standing in something, so you want to move out of the way. I know some of you are getting nervous and thinking like, oh, I don't think I could do this. Trust me, you can. Look, I'm just standing here. I'm not doing anything. These guys are basically killing the boss for me. Oh no, I've got something under me. I'm going to step over a little bit. Send a Wild Growth. Just generally keep your team topped up. Which, they mostly do it themselves. You see, we've got some of our team heading this way, and we've got some of our team heading this way. So which way do we go? Well, I'm going to go left, because I know that's kind of the correct way. You could follow any of them. Our tank is the one that went right. In this dungeon, it actually ends up leaning back to the same place. You can always consult your map to see what's going on as well. Gonna go through the middle here so as to not pull those groups. I believe in you guys. Look at, they followed along and they got it. Then we gotta get up to our tank here and make sure he stays healthy. Although tanks generally can kind of take care of themselves. Guy's spinning on me, so step out of the way. And get our dots going on the enemies. We could even flip into cat form and do some biting as well if we want. Get a Wild Growth out. Should do all the healing we need. But this dungeon it's called the Everbloom. It's from the Warlords of Draenor expansion. It was featured in Mythic Plus for a little bit, back in Dragonflight. I think it's a generally pretty fun dungeon. You might notice we're skipping a lot of these enemies. And that's a philosophy you'll find in a lot of these older, these time-walking dungeons, is you kind of want to skip as much as you can. You don't really need to kill everything. There's no... The amount of experience you get from killing the enemies in the dungeon isn't that much. You more get the experience for the completion of the dungeon. Notice how I haven't even really been paying any attention to the healing of this. Like I said before, it mostly takes care of itself. In these time-walking dungeons, now as we get into the late game and start doing Mythic Plus dungeons, you will have to heal, and it's actually going to be very hard to heal some things if you go into harder dungeons. But for this, it's kind of nothing. I want him to... So, I don't know if you were looking at the tank's health bar there. He had an icon on him. The icon indicated that there was a dispel on the target. And those, you want to use your dispel. Every healer will have them. For the druid, it's called Nature's Cure. So here we've got another boss fight. We've got our Death Knight here is taking a little bit of damage. We'll just get we'll use a Swift Mend on him. That'll top him up. We can spread some rejuves around. Easy enough. So remember, we had just leveled to 26 when we started this dungeon. Now we're about halfway through 26. Get Wild Growth out. Wild Growth is kind of going to be the thing that we... Oh! I messed up. I accidentally stepped into the ice ball. But in these older dungeons, in these time-walking dungeons, you can make mistakes like that. They're very forgiving. But as I was saying, Wild Growth can do most of the healing we need here. Now our tank's taking a bit of damage, so we're going to make sure we get a little Cenarian Ward and Life Bloom on him. We'll give him a regrowth. If nothing else in these dungeons, make sure your tank stays alive. We're seeing some damage, so I'm going to hit my defensive. Get another Wild Growth out. And just start hitting some regrowths on people. We're just casting on whoever's low. And as you see, it can be kind of satisfying to get those health bars topped up.
No, you can't.
We've got another boss here. This group is pulling pretty quick. Gotta watch these swirlies and make sure we're not standing in them. And you might notice sometimes, like, man, I really can't heal this guy. Like, his health will not go up. That is because that person is probably a very high level. This Death Knight is level 80. And I'm level 25, 26, right? So, because of how scaling works, you're not really going to be able to heal them too much. They're also probably not going to take too much damage, but... Just Wild Growth. And you can see on the party frames here, these little icons in the bottom right, those are my heals that I'm putting on the targets. So you can kind of keep track of them there. And there's other resources you can use to keep track of them as well.
The portal is lost. We must stop this beast before it can escape.
And now we go in towards the final boss.
We've got its attention.
So you know what? We're gonna help out with the damage here. We're gonna dot him up. Somebody's used Bloodlust, which is a buff we'll talk about at some other point, but know that it just makes you deal a lot more damage because it's gonna increase your haste and let you cast a bunch of abilities way quicker. So we're shooting our wraths at him. And that is it. That is the dungeon. And we got a weapon out of it, a hoof. I know a certain Taranka that really loved to get hoofs. Taranka is the name of a druid that obtained 30 hoofs in one season. And then you'll see everybody's left the group. So what you do at the end of a dungeon, unless the group decides, you know, maybe they were talking. These guys didn't say anything. They just kind of did the dungeon and left. At the end of the dungeon, what you do is you'll right-click your party frame, and you'll hit Leave Instance Group. And that'll send you back to wherever you were when you went into the dungeon. So for us, it's going to send us back to the Howling Fjord. And that's our first dungeon done. So with that dungeon, you can see up here in the top right, we now have the Knowledge of the Time Ways buff. Experience gained from killing monsters and completing quests is increased by 5%. Completing time walking dungeons increases the effect and extends its duration. Upon reaching 4 applications, transforms into Mastery of Time Ways, which increases that effect to 30% experience increase. That's a lot, right? So that's kind of why I wanted to do this. We're just going to get that big buff, and we're going to go back to questing, but I figured, why not get the, why not get our big experience buff? So we're going to take Tranquility because it's just a really fun, cool ability. I don't know if druids use it later on, but I'm going to use it now. And we're going to queue right back in for another one. So we're going to go here. We're going to indicate that we are a healer and we know the dungeons, because we do. Also, after doing these Time Ways dungeons, you'll notice that you get a little satchel of helpful goods. You can open that up and that's going to give you an item. And look at that. A blue item. 2 secondary stats, increased intellect and stamina. Whew, that is a strong item compared to what we had. Even this hoof is stronger than the staff we had. The only problem is the hoof is a one-handed mace, and we don't currently have anything to put in our offhand. I don't think. Let me go check my heirlooms. If we have a held an offhand in here, I'll put it on. But I do not believe that there is a held an offhand you can get. There is not. Which, that's fine. We'll just stick with the staff for now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go find a vendor, because I never cleared out my inventory. And by find a vendor, I mean go outside and... Oh. I need to use my bear. Because it's got a vendor on it. Sell all that trash. We're going to keep the hoof for now, but we'll sell all this other Garbaggio. All these quest items we've got. And any moment now we'll be getting sent into another dungeon. But how about you guys? That was very easy and straightforward, I felt. I feel like anybody can do that. And that you shouldn't be missing out on a portion of the game just because you're a little nervous to go into it. Look, there were some of those mob packs and stuff. I was just standing there. I wasn't even doing anything. And those guys didn't call me out. They didn't go in the chat and be like, this guy sucks. He's just standing there. Like, I would say in general, you'll find most of the players in World of Warcraft are not that toxic in many forms of the content. Now, places you will find toxic players are in certain key levels for Mythic Plus, and specifically, weirdly enough, Heroic Raid. I don't know why that is. We've got another dungeon. This is going to be Grimrail Depot, so this one's a bit of an interesting one. We're going to spawn in. All our boys are coming in. You'll see the tank is probably going to take off immediately, but first things first, we're going to get our buff out, Mark of the Wild on the whole party. Then our tank's off to the races. And you're going to find that's what many of these tanks will be doing in these dungeons. Oh, got hit by that guy charging. You might think like, oh, that's unfair. I didn't know he was going to do that. Well, that's true. That's why they make these dungeons not too hard, because they understand you're gonna, oh, he's getting pushed around. They understand that you're not gonna know everything going into them. Make sure we loot all this stuff to get our gold. Got our, who's our tank here? Locusts. Doing their thing, beginning of the pull. We're gonna send out a little wild growth. We're just gonna start hitting people with rats. Oh, look at that. We've leveled up again. We've leveled up twice now. Over here, I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna grab Renewal, which is gonna give us it's gonna give us a little self-heal we can use. Just nice and easy. Keep some hots on our tank here. Still trying to find a good keybind for my Cenarian Ward, because I know I will be healing at some point. I don't really know what to put that on. I have it on F right now, which is usually my interrupt key. Druids usually don't use an interrupt. a healer druid, so F might be my Cenarian Ward button. Rest of them I kind of like. I've got Wild Growth on 3, Life Bloom on 2. Got a thing under me there, so I'm going to step out. Ooh, that did some damage. I'm going to go ahead and just use Tranquility. Look at this, I'll stand in everything. I got Tranquility going. Tranquility's a 3-minute cooldown, but you can see that was a big channel. It's put this big hot on our whole party. Oh man, we're taking some damage. We'll get a Wild Growth out, and then we'll start getting some regrowths out on people. Or just chain casting these regrowths. As a healer, you do sometimes have to watch your mana, but unless you're max level, you're not going to have to worry about that at all. You will not run your mana out, just spend it. Okay, so this dungeon, we're taking a little bit more damage. But as you can see, I'm just clicking random regrowths on the party, and we're getting by just fine. We're going to loot the boss, and then we're, I think, going up these stairs. Ooh, that guy got a cool axe. We're going to avoid these explosions as best we can. Our party might run up ahead of us, so we're going to get some hots on them before they do so. We'll wait for this swirly to go by. Okay, and we'll move up. We'll use another Wild Growth just to keep people topped up. Paladin seems to be taking some damage. I think he's getting aggro. This Warlock has aggro as well. But one thing I think doing dungeons you can learn from it is that, you get to see other classes, see how they work, or what they look like, not necessarily how they work. See, we've got a Warlock here, and he's summoning all of his big demons. See, our tank has just taken some bleeds there, so we'll get the Life Bloom on him. And then we're just following. We've got a cutscene. I know as much as you'd like to watch the cutscenes in dungeons, it's probably best to skip them, because your whole party's probably going to. And then they'll be way ahead of you. See? Wild Growth. Keep our Cenarian Ward on our tank here and there. You'll be just fine. Somebody's closed the door on me. You just click it to open it. And you're weaving our way forward. You just stand behind the party, and then healing them when we get to a pack. You don't have to worry about doing damage at all, but if you're bored, because, well, there isn't a whole lot of healing to go on for most packs, you can just send some out. See, these guys are standing in this thing on the ground? They're going to do that. It's not doing too much damage to them, and they know you can heal them. For, the little bit of damage that it is. This one they're taking a little more damage, but you'll still be fine. Just get some regrowths out. I'm standing in something now, too, but we're a strong healer. Just gonna keep regrowths out on people. Keep Wild Growth, Cenarian Ward on the tank, keep your Life Bloom on someone. You don't have to be too perfect at this level. I could probably heal this whole dungeon just using regrowth. Did I grab? No, I did not.
Who dares challenge me?
Don't fall off. So this boss fight's a little weird. You can see he's shooting at us. So we're going to want to keep kind of behind cover here. And our teammates probably aren't. So you know what? This could be an instance where you might run into some difficulty. Also, we're being pushed back the whole time. This dungeon in particular is one of the least liked dungeons in the game. So... and for good reason. See how we're getting pushed back? I think if we get in here behind cover, we don't get pushed back anymore. So we'll find a good safe right here. Keep our Wild Growths going. And you know what? At this point, I'm like, man, we're on a boss fight. People are kind of taking damage. I'm just going to sit here and use Tranquility. Gonna make sure nobody dies. It's a very strong ability. Even if I get hit by something, I can just stand in it. You see, he's taking shots at people. Nobody's really hitting him right now, so I'm gonna help out a little bit. I'm gonna use some damage on him because it seems like people aren't realizing what we need to do here. Now we've got fire on the ground, so we're gonna step out of the fire. Now we're out here, and we're gonna have to keep our wild growth. Oh, our warlock is, and he's dead. And you know what? That wasn't my fault. I know a lot of people like to think, wow, I messed up. I can't, I let someone die. I did not let that person die. He was being targeted by the gun and he just stood at it. Which, maybe he didn't know where to go. That's fine, but don't blame yourself for everything, you know? And look, it's not the end of the world. He's back. He's fighting again. Wow, hey guys, we really need to hit this, this cannon. Like our paladin's being targeted by the suppressive fire, so we'll keep some heals on him. Keep using our regrowths to keep our party topped up. I'm gonna keep my dots on this guy because I feel like I kind of understand how some of the scaling works, and I'm probably gonna do more damage than a lot of these DPS. Looks like that warlock stood in the gunfire again. I'm gonna heal myself. Oh no, I'm dying. I'm gonna use my my renewal there. Of course, we're out here fighting in the wind, so we're getting pushed back. So it's like an escalator. Oh, so you have a revive? I should have used my revive on that warlock, but you don't think about things. So he's gonna have to run back, and well, may never make it back to us. We might have this dungeon done before he gets back to us, and that's okay. You know, you're gonna get into runs that are gonna go a little haywire. You might have people kind of get mad at each other, but you know, if you're getting mad at a video game, who's actually losing, right? Video games are meant to be fun. I'm having fun. Their wild growth out. See, big pull, bunch of enemies. Nobody really took any damage. So I'm gonna use my Starfire. To heal on this guy. It looks like our warlock is making his way back. He's almost made it. There he is. He's back. And I'm going to reward him with a little buff. What is this? It's done damage to all of us a little bit. Heal it up. Get some rejuves out. We're going to get our dots on this target, and we're going to start shooting rats because I think we have a lot of higher level people in our group, and because of how the scaling works, I probably do more damage than all of them, even though I'm the healer. We're going to get out of that, though. Weave a little wild growth in there to make sure everyone stays healthy. So we're doing damage. Step out of those swirlies. We're going to skip the cutscene. And that's the end of the dungeon. There's our second dungeon done. Looks like everybody's leaving, so we'll go ahead and leave the group. Get sent back to the North Rend, and we'll queue up for another one. 2 more, and we'll have our full buff. And we've leveled up, so we're going to put another talent point in. Let's go for... Efflorescence. Efflorescence is a very crucial ability for druids, so we'll grab that. Ah, crap, I didn't think about that. What keybind am I going to put efflorescence on? Q? Q works. Yeah, I like Q. No, we're going to go shift 1. Yeah. Yeah, shift 1. Because I think I'm gonna put my what am I call them? Later on you get little tree ant guys. I'm gonna put that on Q, I think. No. You probably move efflow more than you use trees, so I'm actually gonna put efflorescence on Q, and then put trees on Q1, Shift 1. But that's a me thing. That's a me thing. You guys can figure out your own keybinds, or you can just click them. That works too. Just whatever's comfortable for you. Check my inventory. It looks like I got a new pair of really strong gloves. We're gonna put those on, and then we got our little satchel we're gonna open. It's shoulders that are significantly stronger. That's another thing. By going into these dungeons, which are a little harder than questing, you get rewarded with really good loot. Let's go in and we're going to do another one. We'll fly over here. Start doing some of these quests. We got to just kill proto drakes. So here's what we can do as a healer. We can go around because, you know, we can heal ourselves. We're not going to die, right? We're going to tag a bunch of these enemies. Just a bunch of them. We're going to get them in and we're going to drop some heals for ourselves. And now that we're all healed up, we're going to kill them. I have to destroy the eggs as well. Little dragon spitting fire on me. So yeah, we kill things a little slower as a healer compared to a cat, but you could get it done. If you really want to be a healer, you can quest as a healer. I think it doesn't hurt to learn the other specializations of whatever class you're playing as well, though. Every class in the game has a DPS specialization, and that's probably going to be your best bet for questing. You can quest as a tank very effectively, but the way you quest as a tank effectively is by pulling a lot of enemies. And it can hurt pretty bad. So that might be something you don't want to do your first time around. We'll tag up all these guys. You know, I'll put a little efflorescence down. Just going to heal everybody inside of that, including myself. And then we'll use our dots and our little wrath and we'll take everybody down. Queue times are starting to get a little longer, and that's because it is not early. So we may not get into another dungeon, but... Look, we already got a little... We have a... Where's it at? Oh, we did get into a dungeon. We've got a 10% experience increase already. That's huge. We're gonna go in. We're gonna... queue into another one. Another thing you should note, there's at any given point during this game probably some sort of experience increase you can find and get just to make your leveling quicker. Which you may not want to level quicker. That's fine. I think questing slowly is fun. For the purposes of this character, though, I'd like to kind of get to the end game so I can start to show you some of the systems and how they work up there. Oh, and look at that. Our tank has declined the vote. That deserves a sip of water. Ah, delicious water from the sink. What do you guys think about that? Drinking water out of the sink. I know a lot of people be like, I drink well water. Like if I live out in the country and have a well, I'll drink that, but in the city, no. I drink the city water, you know? In general. Now this this depends on where you live in the world, and even in some parts of the world, what specific city you live in. But in America, a vast majority of the cities, I would even say almost all of them, the water you drink by law has to be potable, or the water pumped into your house by law has to be potable. You have to be able to drink it, or else the water companies can be sued. Now, there are some caveats to that. If you live in, say, a big apartment building, or any sort of maybe older building, the water being sent to that building... Wow, people are leaving. Or declining the invite. But so the water being sent to that building is potable, but the pipes within that building may not necessarily be up to code. So if you live in a really old house with really old, maybe lead pipes, maybe you shouldn't drink the water. But my house was, I think, recently remodeled, so all my pipes are good. By recently, I mean, like, you know, almost 10 years ago. But that's probably enough to not have lead pipes in it, so we're good. And it tastes fine, so I think I'm safe. And I've been drinking it for years now, and it hasn't caused anything wrong with my brain that I know of. Oh, we've got Skyreach now. This one has a tricky little phase here with this this wind tunnel. We're gonna get to that, and we're gonna tackle it just fine. Looks like we've got another druid in our party, a couple of mages and a death knight. If you have a death knight tank, a blood death knight, you really probably won't have to heal them at all. They're very self-sufficient. Yeah, they just don't really need healing. In general, if they're a good player. If they're maybe not playing so great, maybe they might need some healing, or at some certain levels, some of the scaling can be kind of whack. Generally, if you're a lower level character, you'll do fine in these dungeons, but the higher level you get, the harder it gets. So as a level 10, I could probably solo these dungeons. As a level 25 or 20, what am I now? 29? I'm still pretty strong. But as a level, let's say 75, you would be pretty weak, actually. You could die very quickly. So I wanted to get these kind of dungeons out of the way early and get our experience buff, because then it'll last really long for us, right? And in general, just kind of show you. Maybe a little change of pace. Got disoriented. Somebody threw some sand in my eye. Pulled a little bit ahead of us, so we're going to use our movement speed ability to catch up. Get out our wild growth on everybody. Oh yeah, that boss got killed really fast. We've got somebody doing a lot of damage in here. I'm gonna guess that it is... It's probably this Armageddon guy. And look at that, we've leveled up again. I'm gonna put in my talent point while these guys are killing everything. What should we go for? Well, I can't because we went into combat. Fine, I guess I'll fight the enemy. Getting in with the rats. Right now, quick, before they pull that other one, I'm going to grab this talent, which just gives us versatility and stuff during the day, and or versatility at night, and I thought, what does that say? Critical strike during the day? Just flat damage during the day. Okay. Going to cat form to get a little more movement speed here. See, my guys have left me a little bit, but it's fine. In most pulls, nobody needs healed anyway, so. I mean, most of this healing I'm doing is just to make it look like I'm doing something, right? I mean, I could totally just stand here and do nothing and we would be fine. Got another boss here. There's not as much trash mobs in this dungeon, just like those in-between boss kind of elite mob packs. It's unleashing some quills, take cover. You can see it does give you, for some things, a little indicator right here at the top of your screen. But as we start to do the endgame stuff, for these leveling dungeons, you can go off of those. When we start to get into endgame stuff, I will show you some resources you can use and apply to your game to really make stuff very apparent when you need to dodge or whatever. So here we are taking damage. while we are running around this thing. So these birds jump in from the side and they peck you. And it can be quite annoying because you can't really dodge them. Okay, looks like somebody made it up to the top and turned off the air. Yeah, that's a very annoying part of the dungeon. And I would say, if you're not up to the task, just wait at the beginning until until somebody goes up there and turns it off, and then run through using like dash like this. Been targeted with solar detonation. Yeah, they didn't do anything. Don't make a scary indicator noise for me when it's not gonna do anything. Oh, we've got this heroism bloodlust ability being used again. This time it was the mage that used it, so it's called temporal displacement, but they all do the same. Giving us a big haste buff, but with a 10-minute cooldown. And here we go. See, these guys have went ahead and re-queued us. Well, maybe. There we go. So this basically means I'm going to re-queue up with these same guys. I liked them, so I'll go ahead and do it again with them. Looks like we got a new strong ring. We're going to put that on. Our next dungeon is ready. What dungeon is this? This is Auchindoun. We're going to open our satchel while we're doing stuff here. We got a new necklace we can put on. We're going to put that on. We have a talent point we can put in. What do we want? I don't know. Let's get our trees. Let's get our Grove Guardians. I like those guys. Oh, and my team's leaving me. But that's fine. We've got cat form. It makes us really fast. And you can use your map here to see where they are. They'll be the colored dots. You see they've gone left, so we're going to go left up here to catch up with them. The Grove Guardians, this is a pretty major part of healing for a druid nowadays, is what I'll do is you target it on a friendly, either yourself or a friendly player, and you use the ability and you'll see it's some of the little tree ant that's going to start casting heals on your party members. So it's going to prioritize, and I think it goes like this. So say I casted it on Shadow Meld the Undying here. It is going to prioritize healing him. Unless someone else... So it's going to prioritize healing that target until they're full health, or until somebody else gets low on health. So they're smart healing. So they're kind of just a fire and forget kind of thing. But they are powerful. They do really good healing. We're going to go ahead and use our thing, and we're going to skip this cutscene. You can skip a cutscene by hitting escape. Escape, and then just, hitting yes. We get all of our dots set up on these targets here. Yeah, get our dots, and then we're going to start starfiring. Nobody's really taking damage, but let's just let's get an efflorescence down, and then let's get some trees out. Oh, it looks like he's starting to take damage, but we get these trees out, and he's gonna be perfectly fine. Look at him going. Look at them, they're the boys. Hey! Ceiling just fell at me. I wanna loot these guys. Don't spawn any enemies on me.
I will strike you down.
The protector still answers.
You know, I guess I never did go over what like a tank, a healer, and a DPS are. I mean, they make sense, right? So the healer is healing people, a DPS, or damage per second, a damage dealer is going to do damage. And then the tank is going to be the one holding the aggression and being hit by all the enemies. So generally, you want to stay behind your tank. You want to let your tank run ahead. Let them hit all the enemies first, so they're going to have all the damage on them. And then you're going to heal. you know, if they need it.
Corrupt.
Whew, that is a big upgrade to our waist.
Gather any who remain loyal here and protect them. You, please, go put a stop to this madness.
So you never want to be in front of your tank, because then you'll end up pulling aggression from the mobs, or aggro as we call it, and that's going to be bad, because you're definitely not going to be able to take damage as good as they are. Let's get a couple of trees out here. Let's throw all the trees, why not? This tank's pulling a lot. If this is the case, it's fine. Just make sure your tank stays healthy. If they're pulling big, it's probably because they know what they're doing. And they're going to LOS around this corner. If you see somebody pull around a corner, like, well, you just got hooked in. But if you see someone pull around a corner like this, go ahead and go around that corner with them. They're doing this to any enemies that are this way, ones that could be casters. They can't hit people that they don't have a line of sight on. So if we hide around this corner, they'll come chase us, see? Well, he's chasing him now, but that's more of a higher level strategy. Or not higher level. It's something you're not really expected to know when you first start the game. But I've just told you generally how it works. So if you see people doing it, or if you see someone say like LOS here, and they run to a corner, just get in that corner with them. But you know, like I was saying before, even in these older in these time walking dungeons, you're not gonna run into problems even if you don't do that. Your team will be fine. You will make it through. So I'm following my tank here. We're gonna dot up some enemies as we go along. We don't want to hit them before our tank though. Looks like this person has gained some aggression, so we're gonna give him some trees to help him out here. Where's our tank going? He's going all the way to the end. See, he's just running, so we're gonna follow him. I know we got a bunch of enemies behind us, but when we're doing an LOS pull, that's what you do. So we're gonna come up here and we're gonna wait. We've got some friendlies back here getting hit by some enemies. It's all good. We're looking at the health bars. Nobody's really taking any damage, so. In the party chat, the tank said, "Stack on me, lol," or never mind, I guess just kill them all. Because we kind of did that. We just killed them as we went on the way through. So you'll see these enemies casting abilities like Fell Blast here. We currently don't have anything to help out with that, but just take note of those. So as we get into the harder dungeons later on, the Mythic Plus dungeons at max level, that's going to be a huge part of preventing damage to your team. Is going to be stopping those casts. I'll talk more about that later, but it's good to note that in dungeons that's something you need to watch out for. So now we have a boss fight. You know, just like most of the other boss fights, he's probably going to die before he really does anything. And we can help that out by dealing damage with our team. Sometimes on a boss fight in these time walking dungeons as a healer, your best way to heal is to just kill the boss quicker. I'm going to skip this cutscene, because our team will leave us in the dust if we don't. See? I skipped it and they're still leaving me in the dust, so we're going to use our dash to keep up here. And you'll see that our team is kind of whisked away here. That's because they're using the soul transporter. You just click on it. It'll take you to wherever they went at least. But yeah, sometimes, yeah, boss fights, you might be better off just doing damage to the boss to help your team, rather than trying to, like, you know, prepare for a bunch of healing. And we're going to be doing a lot of using these soul transporters in this part of the dungeon. I will say this, as a new time player, maybe try to avoid doing time walking dungeons when Warlords of Draenor is the ones that are there for that week, because I would say it is the hardest pool of dungeons. Wrath of the Lich King is pretty easy. classic is very easy, I think. Mist of Pandaria is somewhere in the middle, and then yeah, Warlords of Draenor is pretty tough. Legion can also be a little confusing. See something like this, big fires on the ground, we just step out of those, but it went away before it was a problem anyway. Oh, we have a talent point to put in. Let's see if we can put in a point real quick. I don't even know. Yeah, sure, we'll get that one. Got another boss fight here. Remember what I said about boss fights? We're gonna just do damage. We're gonna just hope we can kill him before he does anything big. Wow, this music's kind of funky. I usually don't play WoW with music on. I mean, sometimes I do. But I would say in general, it's just don't. But yeah, now that I've been playing with music for the series, there's a lot of really good soundtracks in this game. That was the last dungeon we needed for our mastery of the Time Ways. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our loot. We're gonna say to the party, using party chat, we're gonna say, thank you guys. And then we're gonna go ahead and leave. Because we got our buff. We got our 30, I'm rubbing my hands together, that's how excited I am. We've got our 30% buff. It lasts 3 hours, and we can re-up the time on that by just doing a single dungeon. And I also believe it lasts while we log off. So hopefully I don't log off from this video and then get back on and it's gone. I hopefully can just like log back on, maybe do one dungeon to refresh the timer on it, and then keep questing. So we are done doing dungeons. So we're gonna flip back to our feral to continue being a cat. I hope you guys weren't too. I don't know. I know some of my viewers are people who've played WoW. I know some people are new, some people are not. To the few people I know that have played WoW before, maybe haven't played it in a while, that might have been a little confusing. But I hope you followed along. It was a fun time for me, fun time for you, hopefully. But we're gonna go back to some chill questing now. I'm sipping water, man. I'm really thirsty right now. And when I say sip, I'm not a sipper. I drink a lot of water, as you can tell by me breathing after gulping that much in. I have like a, I don't know, what is it, 32 ounce probably, like metal water jug. I'll drink like a third of it every time I go for it. I'll just chug it. So we have quite a few talents, as you can see here, to put in, because we leveled up quite a few times for the talent tree, or for our feral tree here. We're going to let's make our way down this left side here. So no, we're gonna go. Okay, so we should get this Skull Bash. This is gonna be our interrupt. What is this? Oh, we need this. Well, in cat form, when you critically strike with an attack that generates a combo point, you generate an additional one? Yeah, that's like a necessary talent. And you can usually kind of pick out those like necessary ones just by reading them and being like, yeah, I want that. We're gonna go down this way. Yes, we want, these are a lot of our defensive nodes down here, so we're going to grab. I feel like this matted fur is actually a horrible 718. I don't know, maybe it's okay. I think you could get more value out of this one, which is after shifting into bear form, you get more health and armor. But for the purposes of questing, the matted fur is probably better, so we'll grab that. Then we get to go back over here. And we're going to grab some damaging feral abilities. So this one I know. The stronger rake is probably going to be good for us. We don't necessarily need rip damage for questing, so I'm going to probably pass on that one. This is going to make our Ferocious Bite AoE, which could be good. We are probably going to grab the Savage Fury, but what we're going to take here... So Pharaoh's kind of an interesting one in that it has a defensive ability in its tree. So Survival Instincts is going to be something we're going to take. And this is also going to lead us into Berserk, which is our main DPS cooldown ability. So we're going to grab that. And I think you end up taking like all of these ones around it, but we're going to take the one that reduces its cooldown by a lot. So now we've got Berserk. We're going to get that off the normal bar, but we do want it in our cat form bar, so we'll go ahead and we'll drag it down onto there. And Berserk. Oh, what did I just use? I just accidentally used Survival Instincts by hitting F. Skull Bash, we're going to put that on F. Now you're going to see that we've gained a lot of power for our cat form here. Well, actually, you know, maybe we haven't, because well, with talents, yes. We're wearing an intellect staff. So we might need to make some arrangements here, then flip over to an heirloom weapon, like this Hellscream's pig sticker. Yeah, we're gonna grab that. And that gives haste. The ring just gives stats. So yeah, I just need the weapon. I'm gonna hold on to that staff though, so we'll put on that weapon. Open our satchel. It gave us another ring. Yeah, we'll put the ring on. We got a bunch of items we don't really want, so we'll open this thing. Oh, you might also notice when I switched back to my my feral specialization, it put us back on our UI that we were on for feral. So you can have different UIs set up for different specializations. Maybe you want your healing one to be different from your tank one, or whatever. But they're all saved. You can save them all in this edit mode under the layout here. See, you can new layout, share, import. I could send you my layout if you want. Just hit me up in the comments if you saw it and really like it or something. I can send it to you. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, I was gonna get rid of all these things. No, we want to keep this ring on. Sounds good. Pay our items. We're gonna sell all the junk, and then I believe we've looked over all these, so we can go ahead and just sell all these items. It's not going to let us delete this staff, so we'll hold on to it. We have a lot of quest abilities, don't we? That's what all these are, by the way. These we don't need the harpoon controller anymore, and I don't think we need these ears, so we're going to get rid of those. Oh, they're now bugged out. Okay, so it's oh wait, am I lagging out? Oh, look at this. I'm clicking abilities and they're not doing anything. The servers must be lagging a bit here. Look at, I'm running so fast. Wee. I'm gonna catch up in a second. Then we're gonna use a bunch of abilities all at once. Hello? Oh! We've been disconnected. Let me back in. Huh. Well, it seems that the server gods have decided that this video ends here and now. So I hope you guys had a great time. I hope you learned a thing or two about the dungeons, and most of all, I hope you just learned that you can do it, right? You can do it. The only one I may not recommend doing right away, tanking. Because tanking's a little different because you kind of have to be the one leading. But for a healer or DPS, I believe in you. We'll be back next time with hopefully not the servers being weird, and I'll catch you around. Bye bye.